like I think this is so important because teaching is one of those professions where it is has formed so much of our identity. And for people that have been teaching for a long
Yes.
period of time, it's
Yeah.
hard to shift those. So what do we do when we come up to challenge, when we figure out that evidence actually challenges some of those core beliefs? What are some of the conversations we should have?
Well, the conversation needs to start with, I mean, why are you having the conversation? You're having a conversation because you both agree that the writing results are disappointing. You both agree that there's a plateau in comprehension
Love
between
that.
year 3 and 5.
Yeah.
That's what students being student-centered gives you. It gives you common ground. We're both dissatisfied. That is a very powerful form of common ground.
Mm.
Shared dissatisfaction. You
I think
know,
that's empowering, isn't it?
it is. And it doesn't matter if you have completely different views about the causes of those disappointing results. You're going to sort that out through your causal inquiry.
I love that. Yeah.
And that starts with getting all the beliefs of teachers about the writing results. They're all on the whiteboard,
Mm.
all of them. And then you you rule out all those that the school can't leverage. And then the plausible ones you then go away and test.
Mm.
Do not adopt any new strategies until you have completed the validation of your causal beliefs. So
Sounds good.
interrupting the quick fix is probably one of the hardest things for leaders to do,
Mm.
because sometimes part of their leadership is identity is I solve problems. When teachers ask me to jump, I jump. So, that's the quick fix.
Mm.
That's,
That's it's so important, Vivian. I mean, I want to be respectful of your time. So just a couple more questions
yeah,
if you don't mind. I honestly feel like I could talk to you about this all day, but I'm
yeah,
sure you have other things to do. But you write extensively about the emotional complexity of leadership.
yeah.
How do you think school leaders should deal with ambivalence in teams rather than trying to eliminate it? Because we've all got those people in our team that just don't want to shift their perspective. Do you have any advice on that?
They don't want to shift their perspective about what and why should they shift it?
Great point.
Because the results of the students for whom they are responsible,
Mm,
are not good enough. And I don't do anything until we have agreement that those results are disappointing. Okay. So don't start by thinking about them as resistors or blockers. What is the purpose of unblocking them?
that's a great point, and I love how you focus on the students in their care. I mean, we tend to
Yes.
talk about students in the school or in the state,
No.
but
Yeah.
we're not
Yeah.
explicitly responsible for students in the state, are
Yes.
we? Yeah.
No. So you've got let's say you've got um, a member of the senior leadership team who is responsible for the maths and science departments, and those results are particularly problematic. And you think that team member's instructional leadership is weak, and that you see a connection between those. Well, you start with the results in that leader's area of responsibility, and you go through the process of, does that leader think that the results are not where they should be? Then you ask about why, and that leader's probably going to blame the teachers and in the science and maths departments, etc. And then you just and then the leader has to have sufficient courage to say, yep, all of those are possible, and we're going to test them, or at least test those that we can leverage. But there's nothing in there that you've said. I need to be frank and say that I don't think your leadership of science and maths from an instructional point of view is strong enough. Now, that's where leadership courage comes in, because there's no
Yeah.
point working with there's no point testing causes when you know privately that one of the most important causes is not on the list.
Mm. That's a
That's a
that's
biased sample.
that's That's such a great point, Vivian. And like I said, my hope is that people would listen to this conversation, whether they be school leaders or teachers and it would start to raise some questions. And my
Yeah.
hope is that they would get a copy of your book or your books and really do a deep dive. And as I mentioned, one of the things that I really resonate with your work is just how practical it is. I mean, you've taken these really complicated issues. You know what schools are like.
Mm.
You have extensive experience with schools. You know how hard they are, but you give us some practical things that we can do in our classrooms and in our leadership teams to really make sure students are placed first and foremost. And I thank you for that.